Welcome to What is Truth, brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Welcome to the program. Today we're going to discuss, are we living in a dangerous world today? Is today a dangerous time that we're living, that our children are facing danger? Well, I've cut some clippings out of the paper I'd like to share with you today, but before we do that, I'd like to offer you two very important booklets. And the first booklet is Just What Do You Mean Born Again? Now, people use that expression. I'm a born-again Christian, or I'm saved, and yet they really don't understand what they're saying here. Now, at the bottom of the booklet, it says, don't be too sure you know. Many religious people talk about being born again or being saved, yet they don't really know what Christ meant by those words. The truth is surprising, startling. Here, made so plain you will understand. We ought not to use terms if we don't understand them. Now, here's a question. Why were you born? Do you know why you were born? At the bottom of the booklet, it says, do you really know why you were born? Do you realize God has a purpose being worked out, I might add, for you? Most fail to understand that purpose. Read this booklet, you will be surprised. You can have these two free booklets. You can have a DVD of this program free. We have nothing to sell on the program, and all you need to do is call the number on the screen. We'd be very happy to send them out to you. Maybe you have some questions. Call us anytime and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Let's go on with the program now. I've got these news clippings. I'm going to move them across the screen so you can see them. At least 10, this is Saturday, July 23rd this year, at least 10 dead in Munich rampage, at least 10. Now, this was a man who was an 18-year-old, he was an 18-year-old German Iranian from Munich. So he was captured and he killed himself, and he's only 18 years old. Now, the very next day, we have another news clipping. Gunmen is obsessed with mass killings, and it also refers to this 18-year-old. More information on this 18-year-old who later died of a self-inflicted gunshot. So he took as many people, took 9 people dead, and he's dead May the 10th. Now, there's a clipping here on 731, and it says, for Europe, a struggle over protection. It is impossible to guard all terror targets, the officials say. So it's hard for them to watch every single area. Now here's another story about the attack in Munich. And at the bottom here, I'd like to show you this part. This Munich that was reconstructed to host the facilities for the 1972 Summer Olympic Games. Now, this is referring back to the 72 Summer Olympic Games. Those games were marked by violence when Palestinian terrorists kidnapped and killed 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team. I remember that Olympics in 1972, And I also talked with a gentleman who was on the Olympic team. He was a wrestler, and he was on the team, and the only way he was saved, he dove through a window, through the glass window to the outside, and he was saved. He was one of the few that was saved from the Israeli team. I talked to him personally back in 1972. Now, here's what it says here. Officials vow tighter security in Germany. 4 attacks in the span of a week have left 10 dead. 4 attacks, 4 separate attacks, left 10 dead. German officials vowed tighter security and called for tougher controls of asylum seekers Tuesday in the aftermath of 4 attacks in the country in the span of a week, 2 of which were claimed by the Islamic State extremist group. Now, I have a history of violence here I'd like for you to see. July 22nd, Munich. At least 8 people killed and several injured in at least one shooting. That was July 22nd. July 18th at Wurzburg, a 17-year-old Afghan refugee injures 5 in a hatchet and knife attacks. June 23rd. See how close these are? Vernham. Gunman shot dead after briefly taking hostages at a movie theater. December 31st, 2015 in Cologne. Mass sexual assaults and thefts carried out mostly by migrants and asylum seekers. These people give asylum to the migrants, to the people who claim that they're being persecuted. And what do? They sexually attack and cause thefts. Denmark, Copenhagen, February 14th, 2015. Gunmen killed 2 and wounded 5 in attacks on a synagogue and a cafe. And here it says a medic tends to a man after gunfire on November 13th, 2015 in Paris. He's attending to this man. July 14th, Nice. 84 people, read that, 84 people were killed after a lone assailant drove a truck onto a crowded promenade. June 13th, Paris suburb. A police captain and his companion stabbed to death. November 13th, 2015 in Paris. 130 killed, hundreds wounded in multiple gun and suicide bomb attacks. June 26, St. Quentin Fallader. An employee decapitated his boss. Wow. January 7th to 9th in Paris. 17 people killed in attacks at Charlie Hebdo magazine. 1 a policewoman and at a kosher grocery. March 2012 in Toulouse. 3 Jewish children, a rabbi, and 3 soldiers were killed by a gunman over 11 days. 11 days. Norway, July 22nd, 2011. Oslo and Utøya, 77 people are killed in a shooting rampage on Utøya Island and a bombing in Oslo. June 16th in Birdstal in the United Kingdom. Lawmaker Joe Cox killed by suspected far-righter attacker. May 22, 2013, London. British soldier hacked to death by 2 attackers. Belgium. This was one of the worst situations since World War II. March 22nd in Brussels. 32 people killed. More than 300 injured in suicide bombings at the airport and the metro station. And back on May 24th, 2014 in Brussels, 4 killed by gunmen at a Jewish museum. And here, one more. No escape for Germany in the wave of terror. And here are people holding their hands on their head coming out from a shopping center in Munich after Friday's shooting. Here's another one. Civilians killed in attack on ISIS capital. Russian and Turkish leaders agree to mend their ties. So the Russians and the Turks are coming together. And that's prophesied in the Bible. The Turkish people are the people of Esau. They're Edomites. And Edom is, wherever you see Edom in the Bible, those are the Turkish people of today. Now here, Russia and Ukraine. Russia invaded the Ukraine and took over areas in the Ukraine. So Russia and Ukraine trade tense talks on Crimea. And that's dated 8/12/1916 in the Sun News. Here's another one, dated 7/24 in the Sun News. 80 dead in suicide bombing in Kabul. Now, this was in Afghanistan. Islamic State targets protests by Shiite minority group. At least 80 people were killed and 231 were wounded in Kabul. Las Cruces native. There was a native from Las Cruces relates the tale of getting caught in Turkey plot, where the Turks wanted to try to overturn the government. And there was an attempted coup in overturning the government. So this enjoyable evening out with friends in Istanbul turned into a night of chaos for a Las Cruces native who had traveled to Turkey on a mission to educate young Syrian refugees. And here's one more. Turkey criticizes United States over cleric accused of a coup plot. So they want this cleric turned over to them who's living in Pennsylvania. And one more. Expert warns Rio athletes of water. The Rio de Janeiro, the water there is so polluted that people can die just swimming in the water. Not drinking the water, just swimming in the water. It is so polluted. Well, we're going to take a break, and this world is a very dangerous world. We're going to show you what the Bible says when we come back. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Burke, and I have a confession to make. I have a serious crush on my workout. Hip, fun, and always a challenge. Jazzercise is the total package. It's the only workout that I've ever truly loved. Does it show? That's because I'm in the best shape of my life. What a difference Jazzercise makes. When's the last time your workout swept you off your feet? Find a class near you at jazzercise.com.
If you're looking for a new pet that you can cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are full of healthy, loyal, fun, loving pets, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, you can visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Hey, don't touch that dial, because you're watching the only independent TV station here in Las Cruces, the Las Cruces Channel. Keep watching.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to Daniel chapter 11. It's called the time of the end in verse 40. Let's go there right now, Daniel 11:40. And it says here, and at the time of the end. This is end time prophecy. This is prophecy that's happening right now. It's coming true right now as you watch the program. You've seen some of these news clippings. In case you tuned in late, we're talking about this is a dangerous world. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south. King and kingdom are synonymous. A kingdom is a group of nations gathered together. This king of the south, or this kingdom of the south, shall push at him. We're going to understand what that word push means. And the king of the north shall come against him, that's the king of the south, like a whirlwind with chariots. They didn't know anything about tanks. That was the tank of its day. So there was no use them writing down the word tanks. They understood that that was the tank of its day. And with horsemen, and with many ships, we know what those are, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land. This is the land of Israel here. And many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand. Now, we're talking about the king of the south now. Once we understand who the king of the south is, it'll be easy to understand who the king of the north is. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom. Remember we talked about Turkey? Edom is Turkey. Turkey is Edom. The Turks are a Muslim nation. They're a Muslim people. And Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. Now Moab and Ammon are brothers. They're the children of Lot, the nephew of Abraham. And they are today the Jordan. They're Jordanians. The capital of Jordan is Amman, was spelled with an A over here. Amman is the capital of the nation Jordan. If you went over to Jordan and asked these people, are you Arabs? They would say, no, we're not Arabs. We are another people, but we're not Arabs. They are the children of Moab and Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand. Incidentally, they are Muslim people. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. We know who Egypt is today. The modern nation of Egypt. They're Egyptians, and they are Muslim peoples. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans, we know who the Libyans are today. Muammar Gaddafi was deposed, and now Libya is in a state of anarchy. There is unbelievable killing happening now in Libya. These people are out of control. And the Ethiopians, that's Ethiopia, is also a Muslim nation, shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Well, north and east is northeast. And if you go northeast from Israel, you will run into Russia and China. So this is going to be World War III. It's going to involve Russia and China. Now, who is the king of the north? The king of the north is easy to understand. So, but let's finish reading this and I'll explain who the king of the north is. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and to utterly make away many, and he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas, between the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Dead Sea is the nation of Israel, which is Jerusalem is in the middle of it. In the glorious holy mountain, this is the land of Israel, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Let's explain the king of the north. The king of the north is Europe. These Europeans are being attacked by the Muslims in the south. Now, there were eight crusades that took place in the Middle Ages. 8 crusades. Those crusades were by Europe and the Muslim nations in the south, and they fought 8 wars. This is the 9th war coming up. The 9th war is coming up very soon, very quickly. These Europeans are getting fed up with these Muslim attacks. They're going to have 10 nations. 10 nations are going down to attack the Muslim nations. This is going to be World War III happening very soon, very quickly. It's going to happen. I just wrote a book a couple years back called World War III Coming Soon. You can find it at the various bookstores, and you could find it at the library. They have it there. They have it in just about any bookstore. Amazon, you can go online and go through Amazon, get a copy, read it, go to the library, read it for free. You could read it online for free. Okay, we're going now to 2 Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy chapter 3, and we're going to look at verse 1. This know also, that in the last days, these are the last days that we are living in today, perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, a lot of that today, disobedient to parents, a whole lot, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors. We've had our traitors come up there and give secret information to our enemies, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness. They go to church, but denying the powers thereof, from such turn away. So these are dangerous times that you and I live in. We're living in these times, these dangerous times. And what can we do about it? Well, what we need to do is we need to gain some understanding of what's happening today. We need to understand prophecy. We're going to talk more about prophecy. Please continue tuning in this station, this time, and we're going to explain more and more prophecy. Now, the two booklets that we're offering today is Why Were You Born? And Just What Do You Mean Born Again? We have an interactive Bible study every Saturday at 1 o'clock. You are all invited. Bring your Bible, bring a notebook and a pen, bring your questions. We meet at the meeting room at 1701 East Missouri. You could call us on the phone before you come. This week we're meeting at another place. Before you come, call us and we'll make sure that you're going to be able to meet with us. So actually we will be meeting this week at 1701 East Missouri. Next week we'll be meeting at a different place. Until next time, this is Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God saying goodbye, my friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth? Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.